A time like this, a year ago, we were praying for rain.
Indeed.
We were.
And here we are now. There's just too much rain. I mean, it's just from one extreme to the other. However, we had been warned by experts that, after that prolonged drought, the next thing that you expect is excessive rainfall and flooding. Easy flooding. Here we are. Hey, Margaret is saying it's also raining in Texas and they've been warned of tornadoes. But there, the difference is that the state is prepared.
Tornado ndio gani?
Tornado ni ile inakuja na maji mingi na wind.
Hiyo. Hapa ni maji tu, hakuna wind.
Hapa ni maji kwa wingi. A task force. Multi-agency, multi-stakeholder.
Multi-agency stakeholder task force.
Formed.
Yes.
Okay.
You too. Nini guesswork. What's that thing called again?
Apana, I'm telling you, that's why it's so confusing, because there are many words in the title.
Multi-agency stakeholder task force.
Okay.
I think there's a disaster in there somewhere.
And flooding.
Well,
to talk about floods, we have brought City's MP, the Honorable Beatrice Elachi, to tell us the situation on the ground. Uliitwa na huyu jamaa mvua mingi. The MP for Dagoretti North Constituency, Beatrice Elachi, is our guest. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm fine.
How are you?
We're good. We are holding in.
Under the circumstances.
Yes. Yeah.
Your constituent here,
Yeah.
at least is fine.
He's dry.
At least he's dry.
This morning.
He's one of those who are dry. I'm sure there are many of your constituents who would not say the same thing.
Oh, yes.
And we'd like to hear about it this morning. We'd like to know what's happening.
Judges.
Yeah, ni kubaya bwana.
Walikipata-pata.
Ni kubaya. Anyway, City.
Yes.
Why don't you welcome your MP with the day's proverb?
Today we have a proverb with this. The proverb is just the multi-sector. That should be the proverb.
Multi-sector, multi-stakeholder, agency, task force. City, where are the proverbs from this week?
From the country of Algeria.
Algeria,
yes.
You said you'll tell us something or two about this country. The capital?
It's Algiers.
The president?
No, let's talk about the sort of political system they have and the parliamentary system they have.
Okay.
Because this is always interesting.
Okay.
It's called a semi-constitutional parliamentary system.
Semi-constitutional?
Well, semi-parliamentary, I said, not well,
you said semi-constitutional parliamentary system. What did you say?
If I said constitutional, I said it, but I didn't mean it.
Oh.
Okay.
So it's a semi? It's a constitutional
whenever
semi.
you hear semi, okay, it means they have a president.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the pattern this morning. Yeah? They have a prime minister, okay, they have even a vice president, then they have an upper and a lower house.
Do they have a king?
Algeria, no. Okay. Long ago they had. Those Northern African countries had kings.
Yeah.
Right now, I think there's only one country in Northern Africa that has a king. Okay, that's Morocco.
Morocco.
Yes, but the other ones, they are still tinkering with democracy.
Okay.
So they have all these bodies. Now, the interesting thing is that it has a population of 45 million people. Okay. Its landmass is also one of the biggest on this particular continent. But the thing about Algeria is, like most of those Northern African countries, democracy isn't working very well. It's working, but it's something that is seriously a work in progress. Now, I will give more details later. And when I do, I'll mention the name of the president and the former president, and I'll explain why it is I've said what I've said. Okay. Now, the proverb. May I proceed to the proverb?
Please.
Thank you so much. Cross the river, but don't cross the silent one.
Cross the river, but don't cross the silent one.
Tafadhali.
Mheshimiwa,
Yes.
what's your interpretation of this proverb?
Well, my interpretation, City, will be we just play around with KK, but let us remember they have so many silent things that are not going on well. Don't go that side, or else you'll find yourself into another situation that you have never imagined, which we are in now. That's how I've brought the proverb home.
KK is Kenya Kwanza.
Oh, yes.
So look at Kenya Kwanza. Don't
Yes.
cross where the Kenya Kwanza
get
is.
Don't go
square.
deep. Don't go deep, because you won't come out, and you won't be able to do anything for the country. That's all I would say.
Uwe. Sawa.
Sawa tu.
Message lands.
Interpretation is good.
Very good. Very good one. There's a crisis in the country.
Yes.
In your constituency, what's the situation like?
In my constituency, since the rain started beating us, in the beginning, first we had the worst because the county had not collected garbage for quite some time. And this is garbage coming from Dagoretti South, and then they have a holding ground. And so when the rain came, all that garbage was washed by rain. It ended up in all the drainages, ended up now going downstream. And that is how all the townhouses were affected, because after the garbage blocked all those drainages, there was nothing left but water now to flow back. And so you find we lost Chalby Drive, a whole of 18 townhouses. Their walls went down, their whole sitting room, all their cars pushed right down to the riparian land. And on the upstream, all the homes there, the Sudanese embassy, everywhere, we had all over garbage inside their compounds. Dogs, cats that were swept away. And for me, I think where I felt very disappointed and is where you call the county 5 days, not for anything else, because you can see it's a disaster. You need to coordinate yourselves together and support each other, just to bring trucks so that we can collect the garbages that were in those compounds. And we did not have until we had to pay for our own trucks to carry all that garbage. I think that is where now we realized the county is not prepared, because that was just in the beginning. So even now, as we come to this...
When you say in the beginning, how long ago are we talking about?
We are talking when the month now started of April. You remember the first rain that hit us on a Sunday? That is when we had the first damage in Dagoretti North. That's when we lost a woman. Thank God we were able to retrieve her. And then going forward now is when now we realized we need, and I think I have been one honorable member who calls in, who even looks at the sub-county, and we sit and we agree. But on this one, they were unable. And that is one thing now, if Dagoretti North then was like that, and you can imagine now we have tried our best ourselves to sort out many things with neighbors now. We come out with neighbors, we look at where the problem is, we ask ourselves, what is the solution? When the solution is for the county, we get stuck. Like yesterday night, it was very unfortunate. There are townhouses that, at a place where you can't find water. But yesterday, water just came into all those townhouses. Reasons, we have gone there twice with the county and told them, these guys who are building here, this construction here, has come in, yes, but they sort of distorted the drainage from upstream. So when you're coming down, all the waters now go back within the estate instead of going, and people have lived there 30 years, they have seen El Nino, they have seen all these things. But for the first time now, water into their houses. They can't believe.
Some have said, okay, I'll come to the some have said later. I just want to come back into this. There were heaps of uncollected garbage as the rains were starting.
Yes.
What does this mean? Because we know and we remember very well that the county government had launched this initiative to have garbage collected, drainages unclogged months before. In fact, last year, as we were preparing for the El Nino, there were people who were hired per sub-county to deal with these matters of environment. They're called the Green Army of the county.
Yes.
I'm sure you have contacts with the ward admins in your constituency and the sub-county administrators.
Yes.
Are you saying that they had not had this job done?
No.
By April?
Yes, they had not had this job done. And you can have your Green Army. But you see, when you realize it's becoming overwhelming and you never trained them, you see, you just told them, go and open drainages. Our young people, they're thinking, you just go, you take your spade, your wheelbarrow, you're opening. In fact, not even a wheelbarrow. So you have a spade. All what you have removed, you put it on top here. And you're expecting the county will come, I don't know at what time, to start collecting again to put on the truck. So they don't collect, they leave it there. So when the rain comes, what does it do? It brings it back in. And that is where their challenge is. So there's no cleaning you did. There's no drainage you open. They did their bit, you never did your bit. Then the other thing is, there are those culverts that are just too long. There's one even right now, I am very worried at Lavington. It's a very long one. And so it has come, everything, garbage has now blocked. You need a very long, I don't know wire or something, to unlock it to the other side, or else you'll have to open this whole thing and start reconstruction again. So, do we have any green army who understands that? No. We need now the guy who was employed with expertise for plumbing or something to come and help to open such an opening. And then the whole thing, those caveats are so small. I remember even calling the one just for Chalby Drive. I even called Kura. I told them, look, we need to reopen and put in a sizable based on the water that is coming through. From that time to date, they have never.
What's the issue, Mheshimiwa, with the response from the county? Because, I mean, this has all started from the very beginning. You talked about the first rains in April and calls for... Before that, there was non-pickup of garbage. Why? Are you aware?
You see, you'll be told the garbage collectors have not been paid. They have striked. But then now you tell them, why can't we change the system? Because in the other areas, garbage is being collected. What is wrong with this garbage not being collected the way this other one is being collected? Yet people pay. Not that people in Kawangware do not pay for their garbage. They pay. They pay 200. You just need a truck that can come either on Thursday, collect that garbage and take it where it's supposed to go, if it's Dandora or wherever. But no, they decided to do 2 collection points in Dagoretti North. These collection points brings in garbage from other constituencies. So I told them, why can't then each constituency have a collection point so that you minimize this garbage? It has been, I know it's been a tall order because I have pushed, we have quarreled. In fact, right now I'm telling them we must close one or else we are going to have diseases very soon, because even now the heap is still there. And it has brought in, I remember even KTN airing all that, where we had now garbage that had reached an humongous, until now it's just pigs running on top of it. And you're wondering, the same pigs people are going to eat is the same. That is why diseases will just be there, because as I buy this meat, do I even remember how to clean it? No. Then the worst is with this rain, right now, there's rain, there's sewer, there's everything together. And the worst that we can do now is to imagine, where are people getting drinking water? Because Nairobi Water cannot tell me you will open the tap and get clean water for people.
In all this...
And all this is county again, because Nairobi Water is under county.
Where are the leaders? So we know at constituency level, you're there. And then you have several wards. In how many wards are there in Dagoretti North?
5.
There are 5 wards. Kilimani, Kileleshwa,
Kabiru, Katina, and Kawangware.
The 5 wards, those are 5 MCAs who sit in the County Assembly of Nairobi.
Yes.
And then, under the county executive, we've got the leadership, the sub-county admin, the ward admins, and so on, and then going all the way to the governor and the deputy. Where are all these leaders? Have you had conversations as leaders to say, these are the threats that we are facing as the rains come, and these are the proposed solutions that we can have?
The good thing with Dagoretti North, you see, with my MCs, I think we work very closely. And like Robert Alai, we follow. We even go ourselves. If it's Kilelesho Ward, if it's Katina Ward, we have Swaka. If it's Kabiro, yes, we work together. We are now left with our executive, which we don't know how to hammer, fight, so that we can understand each other. I mean, it's very frustrating. You see, I know I worked in the county, yes, and I know there are many challenges in the county. But then, I would say this, and it's very unfortunate. You see, when you bring in a team, and it's something, I'm sorry to say, Kenya Kwanza appreciate to do things that way, which is very unfortunate, where you decide you don't want expertise. You just want people. They must be loyal, maybe. I don't know. But you don't care what next, because the country doesn't go with loyalism. The country goes with people who have expertise to run the institution you have given them. And there's no way, the same way I'll tell the governor, the same way I normally tell His Excellency the President, you cannot be governor, CEC disaster, CEC finance. You can't. You can't.
Of course, there are CECs.
You have to bring in them, and they must have the understanding that they are the ones who are on the ground. Before you come, they have prepared the ground for you. But now if you come to prepare the ground so that they come, then that institution is collapsing. And that is how things are collapsing, because governor has a team. I would say that team has let him down. And the buck stops with him. So we won't care about the team, because you selected your team. We will hit you, and hit you very hard, without fear or favor, because we are saying very simple things. Yes, there is water, there is flood, it is flooding, fine. But the simple things of making sure this water goes where it's supposed to go is where we are asking you questions that, number one, when your people approve to an investor, go and invest, do they normally follow up to know the investor has closed your drainage, the investor has changed your drainage, has decided to distort it and put it, in fact, others have built on top of it, so you can't even see at one point where is now this drainage, where is this sewer, because you have no person who follows up to ensure the planning you gave in is the planning that has been followed. Then now you come number two. Fine, you have agreed you want to see 42 floors, 25 floors, that is okay. 25 floors, where are they flowing? Where is this sewer flowing? In the same system that was there in 1972, it can't function. That is why you'll find yourself in all this mess we are in. In Nairobi, the mess we have is not God's mess. The mess we have is human mess.
It's a leadership mess.
Yes, where you have decided yourselves to put yourselves into this problem because of greed, because of money, because of not just following. You cannot come and remove this building. Why? Because we will change water, nature. Wangare told us you can't change it. It will come and look for its system. And that's where we are. And I'm hoping as we go into the hell we have gone in, going downstream, I would say, for us, if we remove the garbage and close one of those, we can survive. But now look at where the water is headed. It goes downstream. Enter Mathare.
It affects all these people downstream.
I went to Mathare, and that is where I said, no. First of all, have you ever wondered and asked, is this the real water? Is there somewhere there was a dam that busted and we don't know? Because that water of Mathare is extraordinary water. I mean, you imagine they were asleep and you find water on your roof. Meaning, we don't even know how many people died in Mathare. Because definitely, in that sleep, the children went, everything just went, and I did not even get to know. I mean, when you see the videos, you are asking yourself, where are the children? The children were swept, definitely. We are waiting until that water goes down, then we will know the damage. We don't know the damage.
This is why I bring in leadership, okay? So leadership, we know the government of the Nairobi City County comprises of two. There's the executive, there's the assembly. You've been head of the assembly, and you know then how the assembly is supposed to be checking the executive. All these things that we are saying, the government, the governor may have appointed people who are not up to the task in the job at hand. They were approved by the assembly. The chief officers, the county executive committee members, they are regularly, no, they're actually constantly oversighted by the assembly. We don't hear the assembly talking about this mess.
You see, Eric, I will say this. This county has had, let me go now to the people who have been there for more than 30 years. Kidero found them, Sonko found them, and now you have found them. And it's a structure where you have never questioned. And I always look at each governor, they don't come in and question and say, okay, so you have worked for us for 30 years. Is there a way I can look for, because maybe you're about to retire, or some of them, by the way, are on retirement, but because the county has not been keeping their money, they have refused to go. They say you have to. So you have a planning person who has been there 45 years planning for Nairobi. But you can see the mess you are in, and he's still your planning guy. That's where you have to start questioning your structure. It's not even about these new ones you have brought in. These new ones come into an office. And in that office, if it doesn't function, and you can't break it, and then they will tell you, wengi walitupata, hata wewe umetupata na utatuacha. Now that's where you wake up. It's a wake-up call. Because you come in and you ask yourself, how come all these people, the same problem we face, garbage, is the same, 10 years, 20 years, the same. Kidero tried. We came to remove him. But to be very honest, in a few things, Kidero tried garbage. Kidero tried collecting of revenue. And then he found himself in the mix of Nairobians, how they shikisha wewe handball vizuri, and they shikishat. These other ones, they come in, they don't stay a year, wameshikishwa handball. So you can't move, you can't breathe, you can't do anything. And that's the challenge of Nairobi. There's structure, deeper structure that is in the constituencies, in the wards, is a structure that has been there for quite a while. And they appreciate, I asked one day, why is it that in Matatu, in the transport sector, government has just decided it becomes very confusing like this? And I was told, Elachi, watch your story yako. If you want 300 million or even $1 billion in 4 hours, it is only in the transport sector, that you just come and police decide, sasa ni kushika magari. You will make. I said, oh, that's why it has to have confusion. They said, yes. Bila confusion, huwezi pata hiyo pesa. So Nairobi, I think that's how we thrive. With confusion is when people make money. And when you remove the confusion, you become the bad one. But I think it is time, and I'm hoping with this rain, our governor will rethink. And number one, don't tell me again you'll see Mabati houses coming along the riparian land that Mishuki said, this is riparian land. He has to be thinking of dikes. He has to be thinking of how to close now Nairobi River properly and give it its width and let it be. And make sure those shanties do not come back there. I don't know whether he will be able to do that, but if I was him, this is the opportunity. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you saying basically is those politicians, all these who are in political office, from the governor to the MCAs, they get into a structure, and that structure is just too strong for them.
Yes, and we'll find MCAs also who will tell you, I've been there since 1998. That one is now the worst person you should be with, because that one understands that city hall from the time it had mayors. And he was one of them who used to carry a chair and throw. Now you are with him here. He has no chair to throw, but he can throw in different ways because he's relative and relative and relative. You see, the other thing we have missed is completely, which I don't say don't employ your relatives, but I'm saying when they are there like 10 of them, you won't function because they go and gang up and you can't touch this one and you can't touch this one. So you'll find, and that is what, even Nairobi Water, I want to tell Engineer Maguna, you have been there. Is there a day you'll give Nairobi a different concept of water? Is there a day you'll tell them they can have token and pay what they are using? Is there a day you can tell them? And it's there, it's possible. Is there a day you'll change that? Because all Nairobians are paying for water. You are making money, but they have no water. Right now, they have no water, they have no sewer. You are the owner of sewers. You are the owner of making sure we have better pipes right now. And so even in all this mess, what we should, and even what the national government is doing, you see, you must sit down and ask yourself, what is your short term? And for me in Nairobi, don't bring blankets, don't bring mattresses, and leave a person in a school.
I think, even as we look at the makeup or the character of this disaster, because that is what it is, and there's a combination of two things from what you've said, a leadership issue, as well as Mother Nature doing what she will do. But then the question is, what do we do today? Because again, decisions that are made, one would hope, are based on information that is given. Kenya Met has told us a number of things. The rain is going to get worse in this last week of April, going towards the first week of May. That if we thought it was bad, we're likely to see more rain and with more frequency on top of the same situation. So I can understand that we lament about it. And I mean, it breaks my heart to hear some of the things that we are seeing and hearing every day. But there's something that must be done now, today, now.
Yes.
And we cannot pussyfoot around that. So the question is, what needs to happen now? Everybody on board, get it. I mean, surely garbage can be moved, drainages can be unblocked. Is this not a today issue? Sort it out now so that we can have a place where the water does go. Because that's what we're dealing with today.
I'll say this. Like, for example, in Runda. Let me start with Runda, where a lady called me, Mama Pascal, and she said in their estate, since last Tuesday, they have never come out because the waters came in, and that's why I'm saying either that is the same water that flew down, flowed down to this side of Mathare, Ruaraka, coming down, because it's looking for an avenue now to go into the river. And then I called Bramwell. He responded. They had to go there with a boat. When I spoke to the CJ told me I'm also an IDP. I think she lives in the same vicinity.
So, which CJ?
Our CJ had
Chief
to move
Justice.
out of had to move out of her house also. There was it's completely that same area of Grace and Faith Close Road in Runda is completely a must. And so I asked them, have you gotten any food or anything? So we had to send by using a boat. But then there's an elderly family there who the nurse normally comes to check on. And I think that's what made me now call the county team and say, look, you must go and see how to look at this elderly family that has been there since Tuesday with no power, with no nothing, for the same. If we want to now have, I can see we have very many teams, which I always fear when you have the multi-agency team. Each ministry, I don't know how they are pulling in the resources they have now. And what do you want to do with these resources? It should be your question. Because yes, we know already it is one, drainages. So who is going to open the drainages clearly for the water to flow into Nairobi River so that it goes downstream? That is one. But then to the people who are now in the camps, I know the Deputy President agreed to send them some in Kasarani, and this is my take. For Nairobi, you don't do that. Reasons, other people come in and take advantage. And so the best is give a family. You've given them, I don't know whether they are using now a tag to know these are the families are affected. or just a list. Use it, yes, but start looking for houses right now upstream. You'd rather give someone the rent and say, I've given you rent for 2 months.
Go get
and we have given you a mattress, blankets, but go into a house somewhere with a small something to cook with. Go and start your life upstream so that you do not imagine they can go back there. You start moving them now outside from that place.
Mheshimiwa, you're right, because they will go back.
Yes, they will.
The reason why they stayed there in the first place was because that was the option they had.
Yes.
So because the rains have come doesn't mean they're going to have another option unless somebody provides
it
with that other option.
Yes. And so you have to move them now and make sure they move properly and get their data so that each area you know that this is the team I have supported. And so you have one coordinating team. And let us do it in a manner where people don't come in. Because we went with Esther, and Esther has really tried. She got mattresses. She had to get them all the way from Kisumu. All over, there was no mattress in Nairobi. They were all finished. So she had to call Kisumu, and the truck came in at night. So we went to one of the points where, first of all, we had to do food. But then when I arrived there, we asked ourselves, nobody had thought that these are more than 300 people. They will need toilets. They will need water. All those things. So, as women, you first start thinking, where do you get basins? Because in the morning, what happens here? And then, where do you get toilets? So you start calling in for someone to bring in some portable toilets. To assist. And I'm like, and the men have come. They came in the morning. They came at 2 and they left. They didn't even remember. Children are here. They haven't eaten. And this is water. We are going to create another disaster of having airborne diseases immediately here, even cholera, even whatever. So that is how, when I see the men sit, why I was saying Kenya Kwanza, and the president will forgive me, it's because when I see him walk, I first see him with a huge team of men. And I ask myself, in disaster, men? No, they won't think. In fact, they get blocked. Their mind blocks. And I'm like, no.
What would you like to see? So let's start at the national level.
At the national level, I am hoping they can say, we are a multi-sectoral team. We have a team that is going to open to see how the waters now go down by opening those drainages. That is Ministry of Roads, I don't know, all those together. Then we have your disaster team here. I would want them to tell us, since the time they saw people now floating in water and all over, have you been just able to label and know, if you are asked immediately, I can just flash and tell you 700 people, households are here. They have this problem, this problem. The children in this family are aged this and this and this. And so what do we need very fast? We need blankets, we need mattress, we need this. And money, is it a single woman? Is it a family with the father and mother? That's the data you should be holding now to know. And what do they work? Were they doing businesses? Informal business, normal business? Was it a kiosk, a shop? Gone. And then from there, how do you now assist this family to move? Not to put them in another camp for 3 months again. And so when they come out of camp, where are they headed? You have no place. But for now is when you tell the chiefs, identify areas that are up, that you can find houses, and we will come and pay for the houses and let them go, or give them the money and make sure they go. And start thinking how you are putting a whole fence to show them this is riparian land now. Yes, as government. And because you can't put fence ya chuma wataiba, ama watabeba waende kufanya scrape, those ones who do scrape. You think of now dikes that are cemented dikes. And you start thinking now, and start from the upstream of Nairobi River, which starts all the way, Dagoretti South Riruta, come with our stream properly. And if there's anyone on the stream, even a good house, like now the one at Keleleshwa there, how did we return that whole thing there?
What
whole thing? The petrol station, Now we have a new tall building right on the river like this. Definitely, the soil is just weakening down here, and one day it'll collapse then. And then.
So that's at the national. At county.
Now at county, it's the same. You know, disaster is with the county.
Yeah.
From the time the counties started seeing all these challenges, have they mapped to know areas that are worst hit, areas that are better? Have they been able now to go downstream with a boat, swim on Nairobi River, get to Mathare, go to Ruaraka, get to Kasarani, where all the water is flowing down there? And then from there, you ask yourself, Mukuru Kwanjenga, are we still going to see this mabati hanging like this? Or you are right now removing it? So that they know these are disasters. You cannot come back in. You see, if you leave also these houses just hanging like that, who is clearing? Because you need someone to clear off all
so now let's
that is on the riparian land.
Let's come to Dagoretti
and then make sure you have food. Dagoretti North.
What are you doing? Now at Dagoretti North now, you are a leader of Dagoretti North.
Yes.
What are you doing? Have you established those structures in Dagoretti North?
And that is why, for the first time, we are very lucky. We thank God. We have not had ourselves saying we have people swept with water. We have landlords who deliberately, I'm telling you, Eric, have you ever gone begged, can we do drainage? And they completely refuse. They are fighting. Right now, they are the ones now calling. The ones who refused, they had to buy their own. When we were doing it, we reached a point. Are you imagining a landlord coming and at night closing it back and putting stones and then cementing it? The first rain that came went straight into his house. Then he woke up and he told me, Mheshimiwa, tunataka kutengeneza. I said, kutengeneza? When I brought you the experts kutengenezea, we ulitufungia, ukagombana. So what you do, go and buy all that is pertained to be done for a drainage. And they had to do it. There is a place where we've had hell, St. Anthony. Oh, the landlords there. I mean, I have never seen very stubborn people. But right now, nobody's in the house. So what I've been doing, I've been telling someone, wewe umefungiwa uishi hapa. Si wewe umetoka ushago. Shika pesa, enda rent nyumba mahali pengine bwana. Usinisumbue ati uko ndani ya mahali watu walikataa drainage. No. So I'm also a bit strict with them. The only place I am fighting with county is to close those garbage collection places, so that we can give an alternative to these young people on the same place. When we remove garbage, we will remain with the land. They can put a car wash, they can put a few kiosks and do a different business than this one of garbage collection.
Beatrice, do you have a committee
for the same
in Dagoretti North that brings together the leadership of Dagoretti North? The same thing that says this is how we are approaching this collectively. Starting from the National Assembly, that's you, into the County Assembly, that's the 4 or 5 MCAs, into the County Executive, that says that this is what we are dealing with, and this is how we shall approach it.
I won't lie to you, Eric.
Nairobi as a whole,
if we go at
you are 17 of you members of the National Assembly.
I know.
A supplementary budget is coming.
Yeah.
Do you have a conversation that says that a supplementary budget, we shall insist for X amount of money that goes into disaster, that is earmarked for disaster, and then pushing the 5 MCAs plus the others, 70 plus MCAs of Nairobi, and saying a supplementary budget in Nairobi that shall address this, and then insisting on the formation of these structures that you're saying for Nairobi County?
We are meeting the governor at 9. Definitely, we are going to insist on that. But for now, how we have been operating, trust me, and we should give, the community health workers across Nairobi, I think they are the ones who have carried the burden of the county. And they are the ones we work with very closely. Because, in their structure, they normally have 100 households each.
Yeah.
So when those houses are affected, she will call you as a community health worker and say, within my area.
They know all those
They
people.
know. Like now in Mathare, don't go and tell me the chief. No. Go and look for the community health worker in Mathare. she will tell you how many people she's missing in her structure of 100 households. And so what we'll do in this meeting with Governor, I am hoping we can now have those structures to say in Dagoretti North who is coming from the county government, who are we being given. But in that team, we must have an expert of drainages. We must have a good plumber who will understand, and guys who can come and pump out the sewer properly. All those guys. We need experts in the teams.
Okay.
Don't just give us a political team. We will not do the work. We will politicize the work.
Do the job.
Yes.
So what I'm hearing so far is that in Nairobi with this disaster, because people today are living from Mathare to Mukurus to South B, South C, Imara, to Runda, to Kileleshwa, to Lavington, citizens are the ones who are engaging in their own way.
Yes. Yes.
Community-based organizations are the ones that are coming up to mobilize even support.
Yes.
Our leaders are talking.
Yes, we are talking.
That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, it's good to say, to be honest. We are on the table. We are creating structures.
Having meetings.
And we are having a lot of meetings, by the way.
Let me ask.
And, which is unfortunate.
The disaster that we're talking of now is of a magnitude we have not witnessed before.
Yes, yes. Even El Nino, no.
Yeah, but when we had other disasters, are we saying that we didn't form committees then, that because there's this issue that was, well, there were these two state departments that were nestled within the office of the president that had to deal with these disasters. Over time, we've had legislation that has lent itself to getting us to understand that we understand these things occur and we want to be prepared for it. It's called a preparedness. Because now, what you're now doing, this is a holding action. It has happened. Let's see what we can do.
Yes.
Yes.
And then when you are done, we forget. That's our biggest problem. Yes. That the day the rains will stop, we will not remember to remove people from riparian, or they have come back, we are not questioning. That's the biggest challenge for Kenya. And not just that. You see, even by law, I don't know if we have really defined disaster.
We have.
Because, well, we have, but not in this new constitution city. When you look at it, you see, we gave counties more responsibility on disaster. But we never defined at what point do we ensure the national government comes in. It's only when the president says now, or when people now are all over screaming and shouting, is when you say there's disaster now. At what point?
What structure did you need to start mobilizing and doing what you're doing?
Well, when now that one...
Precisely. A problem occurred, it required a solution,
yes.
And you said, I am the elected leader here,
yes,
and you've gone beyond even your jurisdiction, okay? And yet, there are people who are supposed to be trained in such matters.
That's what I'm saying. How do we define this response so that next time you don't come and say, I'm calling in a multi-agency?
All right, let me paint the picture. Let me give it a darker hue than we currently have. Every time we have drought, there's hunger, isn't it?
Yes.
What do we see happening? Wananchi get together. And then you hear of government effort. And usually hear it because you hear of monies that have been given for it. Then you'll find a high-ranking officer going to some place and giving blankets and mattresses. It is good that mattresses and blankets are given. And then that's it. Okay? That has been and is our story. Stimulus, response. It happens, we respond. And then we go back to factory settings. Okay? Now, surely, we're talking about people waking up to the reality. You, as members of parliament whom we elect, surely, don't you think it is time that you did something that will guarantee that when these things happen, we are actually prepared?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We just need to put in a good law of disaster and we define it properly so that people don't run away from their responsibilities, so that we are able to
I
say...
think what we need to do, Mheshimiwa, I'll cut you short, is we need to gather all 17 of you MPs, plus the nominated ones from Nairobi, plus the senator, plus the woman rep, plus the governor, plus the... How many MCAs in Nairobi?
85.
85 MCAs.
Plus the nominated ones.
We flog you publicly. Mshike adabu. You cannot continue talking and talking and talking.
And people are dying.
And pointing fingers at one another and saying, this one should have done, this one should have done, as people are suffering.
Eric,
And dying.
we will point, you will do that, but we must get a solution.
Yes, after we flog you, you guys will come up with a solution.
And
But
that
like-
solution,
Beatrice.
I'm hoping the governor will give us today. See, he has called all of us.
We
the
hope to hear
17.
some
I
good
am
news
hoping
We will call you to find out.
we will, yes. No, we will inform you.
Asante. Beatrice Elachi is the
Thank
Member
you
of
so
Parliament
much.
for Dagoretti North Constituency. She's been our guest this morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.